Howdy y'all, Christi here, Little Salty Homesteader. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am back with another weekly update, this time for the new year. This is my first weekly update for 2025, and it looks like winter is trying to head in. So let's see what's going on out here before next week's super cold weather kind of wipes most of the stuff out. All right, I'm actually gonna start this update from this angle of what I normally refer to as the tomato patch, simply because that back bed, it has a few Brussels sprout plants and one lowly cabbage plant, but there's not really anything worth seeing too much in there. What does have some sort of visual appeal would be these collard greens here, and if you watched last week's update, you'll remember that this bed was very full. I harvested about 4 gallons out of here. Gave some to some family members, and then we cooked some ourselves for New Year's. So now you can see into the beds a bit, but everything is still looking great. Now, in terms of cold protection for the collard greens, I don't have to. They are incredibly cold tolerant. They will hold up just fine. It shouldn't drop down into the teens. It's just supposed to be like low to mid 20s, so these will be just fine without any sort of protection. So that's one of the great things about growing these through the fall and winter. The other crop that is in this bed is a few different varieties of kale. Again, I won't need to cover the kale in order to protect it next week. Most of these varieties are good down to about 15 degrees, and it's not going to get quite that cold. So these guys will be just fine, and I have harvested a bit here to share with family as well. So this bed is going to be very low effort for next week. I won't have to do anything at all, so that's really good. However, this bed that has the broccoli in it, you can see a couple of these are pretty close to ready. This one I can probably harvest. I'll wait until Sunday to harvest that. But the broccoli is not as cold tolerant as the collard greens and the kale. So basically whatever's out here, I am just going to harvest, and maybe I have to blanch and freeze some broccoli, or maybe I have to make broccoli cheese soup or something like that. But I'm not going to try to extend the life of most of this any farther, simply because I'm kind of a lazy gardener in the winter, and I don't want to have to get out 52 frost cloths and try to protect things. So I'm just gonna harvest what I have, and if it gets ruined by the super cold weather, then that is okay too. I will water everything probably Sunday morning before the cold front comes in, just so the water will give a little bit of insulation to the cell walls of all the plants. But other than that, I don't really plan on doing much of anything else in these beds. The Brussels sprouts will probably be fine. I'm not concerned about those. We'll definitely lose the basil. This one's already fizzled out. So I'll just, after it warms back up again, I'll just come cut down the dead plant and let the roots break down into the soil. No big deal. Now these two beds, obviously they're really ugly right now. There's not a whole lot of stuff growing in them. We have rutabagas in this bed. There's a couple of turnips in that bed. And then in the quad planter, there's some kohlrabi. I'm not going to worry about protecting any of this stuff either. If it doesn't make it through, then it doesn't make it through. The thing with these root vegetables is the leaves may get frozen back, but the roots should be just fine because they are under the soil, and it's not going to stay freezing consecutive days in a row. It will drop to freezing and then come back up above freezing during the day, and then, you know, drop at night again, and so on and so forth throughout the week until that cold snap is done. But because it's not going to stay below freezing, those roots that are under the ground should be okay, and if they're not, then that's also okay. This one was the one last week that had the ants. It doesn't look like they're actually eating it. You can see them crawling on it. I think maybe they're just living in the soil. That one is almost ready, so maybe I'll just pick it on Sunday and we'll just roast it off or something. I don't see any others that are quite ready, and I keep snapping leaves over here. Of course I do. I'm such a careless. Yeah, so I think only one of these is a relatively okay size, so I may harvest that one and then just kind of risk it with the other ones. The kohlrabi is actually incredibly cold tolerant. I believe that it is cold tolerant down into about the low 20s, which is what our lows are expected to be. So I'm just going to leave these as is too. I'm not going to protect them. I know I am gambling a bit with some of these, but it's okay. This is how I determine how hardy my garden actually is. But the good thing about these cooler temperatures is it's going to make these vegetables a lot sweeter instead of kind of that bitter, you know, kind of earthy taste that they can have sometimes. The cooler temperatures will bring out the sweetness in them and they'll have a better flavor. So that's one thing to look forward to. And if you saw me pull the leaves back, you can see how they're kind of getting to be the round shape. Just imagine if you pull all the leaves off, you'll be able to really see that round shape on these. So again, the way that I like to prepare these is by just roasting them off in the oven like you do potatoes, olive oil or avocado oil, salt and pepper in the oven, 400 degrees until they start to get brown and crispy, and then there you go, you have a wonderful side. These beets right here probably are not going to pull through. And there's such a small amount that it's not worth me trying to protect them, and there's not really a whole lot of root formation on them, so it is what it is. Eventually I will successfully grow a beet, just not this year or this season, maybe later this year. These are turnips right here, or maybe they're radishes. No, these are, okay, so right here, these are turnips. You can see they are starting to get some of the root formation. Again, not going to protect them. The roots themselves will be fine whenever it is cold. The leaves might turn to gross mush, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, in the wintertime, I am a lazy gardener. So because we live in such a mild climate, while it does get cold, it doesn't stay cold for super long periods of time. So I try to grow things where I can be a lazy gardener. Some of these items are a risk, of course, but the things like the collard greens and the kale, I know that I can grow those through most of the temperatures that we get without having to put in too much work to try to protect them. All right. Over here we have the garlic. Now this is one thing that I am going to protect because I don't want to lose these. I do have frost cloths in the greenhouse in a plastic bin. In there I have some frost cloth, so I'm going to cover these with the frost cloth and just weigh them down with bricks and things, whatever I can find. And then once we do warm back up above those 20-degree nights, then I'll remove the frost cloth and these should be fine. I know that people in much colder climates grow garlic perfectly successfully, so I'm not super concerned. I just never got around to mulching, so that's my only worry, and that's the only reason why I'm going to go ahead and throw the frost cloth on here. Now, this flower bed, once those temperatures drop down, a lot of this stuff will absolutely die off. The mustard greens might be okay. I don't know how cold tolerant those are. The radish, the daikon radish that are growing in here, and then some of the perennial items will probably make it through fine. I do have concerns about this snapdragon. We will see how it pulls through. Last year I didn't cover or protect it at all, and you can see that it didn't seem to phase it. And I do have some younger snapdragons here. However, my thought process is that I have several more seeds if I do lose those, so I can just try again I also got a couple new varieties that I will be starting, so I can just start them all together and yeah, replant and go from there and see how it works out. Excuse you. Excuse you. All of the annuals that are in here though, those are all going to die completely back. You can see where most of it already has died back. The Gomphrena here. We still have a zinnia that is trying to hang on. The echinacea will probably die back to the ground, but it is a perennial, so it will come back. No big deal. Most of the other annuals will die off. If they have not already, you can see that a lot of it already has. This cute little marigold that has been hanging on this whole time, we will end up losing that. This borage here, we will lose that. This will probably die back, which will be okay. I need to actually cut it back anyway and maybe pull it out because it's impeding me getting into this part of the garden. Now, another thing that I need to harvest that I say that I have said the last two videos that I need to harvest is this bok choy. I do have green stalk covers that I could protect this with, but I am going to put 2 over the strawberry green stalk, which only leaves me one other one. So I'm not going to worry about trying to protect these whenever this is the mature size for this particular variety. So I can go ahead and harvest them and turn them into stir fry or something. So I am going to go ahead and do that. This tatsoi will hold up to the cold temperatures that we're expecting, which is the other reason why I'm not going to cover this, because these will be just fine. So it just makes sense in my head to harvest these items for food and then let these items continue to grow. Now the strawberries, I already mentioned, I do have frost protection that fits right over these. I got them off of Amazon. They're not Greenstock brand, but they do fit just fine. You just kind of wiggle them down and then they have a drawstring that you pull tight. And I've used them before to protect some other crops that were in green stalks for a fall and winter garden before I got those raised beds, and they worked great. So that's what I'm going to use here. The sage, it's like unkillable at this point, so I'm just gonna leave it. I'll water it really well so that it, has that insulation from the water in the leaves, but other than that, it's just gonna, live its best cold weather life. All right, so other stuff that has been going on this week in order to get me set up for the spring and summer garden for this year, I got my grow rack set up. That did involve a little bit of work because I was storing a bunch of books on it. So my sweet husband actually built me some cookbook storage so I won't have to keep moving those from place to place. I got the grow lights and the heating mats set up. Those are all ready to go. I currently have onions in there doing their slowly growing thing. They're fine. And later today, I will be starting Petunia seeds and Rudbeckia seeds. Now, the Rudbeckia is actually being planted ahead of schedule compared to what Seed Time has it scheduled at. I am following another local YouTuber that I watch who lives about 15 minutes from me. She actually started hers 2 weeks ago, so I'm a little bit behind her, but a little bit ahead of Seed Time. And the reason for that is so that I have nicely established plants whenever I come out to plant out my flower bed. So I have 3 varieties of Rudbeckia that I'm going to be starting. I have Cherry Brandy. I don't have a photo of that one, I'm sorry. Cherokee Sunset. And then I have the Sahara. Now Sahara I grew last year, and this one was the one that bloomed really well, and it was like really stunning, and every time I walked by it I had to stop and take a picture of it because it was so beautiful. So I'm really excited about that one. And then I have 4 varieties of petunias that I'm going to be starting today. Again, I don't have photos of them, so I apologize. But I dropped one packet. So the first variety of petunia is Prism Sunshine, then Double Cascade Blue, which is actually purple, and then Double Cascade Valentine, and then I have a red one, or a burgundy. I think that it is a Super Cascade Burgundy. There's the packet over there. I guess the wind picked up a little bit. It was blowing my seed packets everywhere. Okay, and then one last little bit of update for this week. I placed an order for some seeds from Baker Creek. Baker Creek is probably the largest heirloom seed supplier outside of like Burpee. Burpee sells a lot of hybrids though as well. So Baker Creek has thousands upon thousands of different varieties of seeds for herbs, flowers, edible items. They also have some live root things. You can get tulip bulbs from them. They have sourdough starter. So anyway, they're one of my favorite places to source the heirloom seeds. For hybrids, I kind of shop around for those because I'm still trying to figure those out. But just very quickly, I'll go through this. Now this is kind of a little bit of a big order, but some of these have a very specific purpose. So, and whenever you order from Baker Creek, you get free seed packets. So that is always fun. Now, I'm not super ecstatic about any of these, but I'll probably still grow them, let's be real. So the free seed varieties that I got this order were the Persian Carpet Zinnia, the Hadu Tiny Bok Choy. Look how little those are. And then the last one is Merlot Lettuce. Now I have like 5 packets of this already, so I don't know. And then I got this micro dwarf tomato. Now this variety is what I'm going to be growing for Lily's Girl Scout troop whenever they do their gardening badge. I'm going to start the seeds for them, and then they're going to transplant them into containers to take home with them. So along with this tomato, they're going to get to companion plant Purple Ball Basil, which has really tiny cute little leaves, and then this Gypsy Sunshine Marigold. So the idea for that is to give them an edible, an herb, and flower that all beneficially grow together, and then they can just grow it on their patios throughout the spring and summer. And I do apologize about the wind chime. I probably need to move that guy. All right, so the other seeds that I got, Strawberry Fields Gomphrena. This is a butterfly pea. This is the Lavender Queen butterfly pea. Now, with the blue butterfly pea, whenever you use it, the flower, whenever you use it as tea, it makes the water blue. This will make it lavender. So I think my daughter is going to get a kick out of this one. Sunflowers. You guys know that if you have been watching me throughout previous summers, you will know that I love to grow sunflowers. I grow them every year in honor of my pawpaw. So this year I'm adding a new variety, Double Sun King, just because I liked the blossom on that. Let's see if I can kind of get that there without being too blurry. Maybe not. And then the snapdragons that I got are Black Prince. This one is similar to that Night and Day, and it should perennialize here. And then this Bronze Dragon, I just thought that the color was really cool. It has like really dark purple leaves, so I thought that was really beautiful. And then I have some varieties of Coleus. Now this is just going to give different texture and variety to the flower bed, both in the front and the back. So we have Folia Velvet, which looks similar to one I grew in the front last year. And then Folia Sunset, and then this Folia Mosaic. So again, just color and texture, sort of different than just all of the different flowering things going on. Now this packet I bought because the seeds that I currently have I'm going to use to grow plants out for Logan's Boy Scout fundraiser. So I'm just replacing my California Wonder with seeds that are just for me. Then I have some varieties of carrots because I planted most of my carrot varieties this year, even though it was like a terrible carrot year for me. So I got this new to me variety. I just thought it looked really cool. New Carota, I've heard does really well here in this part of the country, so we shall see. And then Purple Dragon, this is one of my favorite varieties for eating, growing, all of those things. It's really pretty and it tastes good. Then I have 2 more varieties of Hollyhock. Now currently I have a red variety and a black variety, so to that I am adding this double champagne and this cool Fiesta looking one. Alright, so for next fall I am adding this Cabbage variety. I'm not even going to attempt to say that. I am not Italian, so I will butcher it, I guarantee you. I just thought it looked really pretty with the purple veining and the green leaves. So sometimes I grow stuff just because it's pretty. The next variety is a variety of cowpea. Now this year I was able to successfully grow enough cowpeas for my family and my mom and grandma in Louisiana to have enough peas for New Year's. I would like to expand beyond that and be able to share with my sister and my in-laws. So I'm adding a new variety called Blue Goose. 1, it just looks cool, and 2, it will just add to my back stock so that I can continue to try to grow more and more and feed more and more people. And I am replenishing my stock of dragon tongue bush beans. These are my favorite variety of bush bean. I have grown them all. Let me rephrase that. I already grew all the seeds that I had, so this is just replenishment so that I can continue to grow these. That's it. That's probably the biggest seed order that I've had in quite a long time. Typically, I don't buy stuff unless I need it, or I am replacing something, unless it's a tomato seed. I have kind of a weakness for those. But that is almost all for this weekly update. Again, today I'm starting those petunias and the Rudbeckia. Next week, I will be starting my peppers and my eggplants. I will try to film that for you. I will also try to film the seedling station setup where my grow rack is, and I will also try to film the January garden to-do list. I know that is a little bit late, so I do apologize for that. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and if you liked today's video and you want to see how this garden continues to grow and change from week to week, please like, subscribe, and comment. Do all those different YouTube things. It is greatly helping my channel. But until next time, go find a way to get those hands dirty. Bye!